Hey y'all, it's your girl Ariza, licensed clinical social worker, test prep guru, your personal hype squad, whatever you need me to be to help you pass this exam. I've helped dozens of people pass this exam, let's just say hundreds of people pass this exam, and I feel it in my bones, you are next. So whether you're the first timer, a repeat test taker, this is the place to get the tools, the strategy, and the mindset you need so you can level up and pass this exam. Today I'm going to do something a little different. We're going to go over a case study, but we're going to do it together. Yes, I'm going to share my screen, but we're going to do this together. And we're going to talk about a client in a situation that can take place that can really make us as social workers feel a little uneasy or a little confused about what we do and how we move and push forward. So remember, a lot of the stuff we do on this channel, pretty much 99.9% of the things we discuss on this channel is all test prep related. So this is going to be a case study. So obviously you're not going to have a full case study on the exam, but you might have questions that trick you up a little bit. And you're like, that's a gray area. I'm not really sure how to handle it. So I'm going to walk through a case. This case I actually did a week or so ago in my coaching community. And it was a divide, y'all. I loved it. People were team this way. And we had to really break down the code because the code doesn't always tell you exactly what to do. Sometimes you have to read in between the lines and figure out what is it requesting or what is it suggesting and what is it saying there's a no-go for. But then what is a go for, you might question it and just not really know. So that is what this case did. So I'm super excited. I'm going to share my screen today and show you the actual case because there's so much information to unpack. I'm just going to be real with you. It's a lot of information to unpack, a lot of different things that we're going to go review and discuss. And I just want to make sure that you can actually see it. If you can see it, you can help me navigate this case and work through it. So basically, we're talking about how to navigate those gray areas when it comes to the NASW, Code of Ethics and the ASWB exam. Two different things, those four acronyms that you're trying to obtain too. Those four acronyms, the LMSW or the LCSW. See how it all aligns? It just all works together. ASWB, NASW, LMSW, LCSW. Love it. You don't see the symbolism in that, but it's okay. We're going to go ahead and stay on track, and I'm going to go ahead and break this down for you and talk to you about a few things here that are pretty relevant that's going to help you look at this case and dissect it a little bit more. So as I was saying, ethics questions on the exam are really about a simple right or wrong scenario. Instead, they want you to test your ability and your knowledge as it pertains to the code of ethics and decide which would be the best way to handle a thing or move forward when it comes to certain things. So what we're going to do here is actually go through it and explain this case. So this was the icebreaker that I gave, and I'm going to read it to you guys, but I want you guys to kind of take a moment to take it all in and let it sink in, basically, so you know. So just look at that for a few seconds, and then I'm going to kind of read through it, and then we're going to break it down. All right, this icebreaker is called the confession. So you're at LCSW or LMSW, but you're providing pro bono therapy to a community center. And a client, David, he's a 55-year-old who is in recovery from alcoholism for 20 whole years. He's a respected community leader, a small business owner, and a mentor to young men in the neighborhood. He is a model of stability and positive change. So you've been seeing this guy for a while, and in the 10th session, while discussing his early recovery, David tearfully confesses something he has never told anyone. 30 years ago, during a drunken blackout, he was involved in a hit-and-run accident that resulted in a fatality. He was never caught. He reveals that another man with prior criminal record was wrongly convicted of the crime and died in prison 7 years ago. David lives with immense guilt, but is terrified of the consequences of coming forward, not only for himself, but for his family and his employees who all depend on him in his business. He states he's not a danger to anyone now, and he spent his life trying to atone for his actions. So this is pretty deep. This is your client, David, a recovering alcoholic, 20 years clean. 30 years ago, he killed a man. Somebody else went to jail for it, and the person who went to jail died in prison. So they're no longer even alive to talk to, address, or do any of those things. So think about it, take it all in. It's a lot to unpack here, but we're going to do it together. Yes, we're going to do it together. So there's some questions that I asked the team. I wanted us to discuss some stuff, and I wanted us to kind of think about it. So the first question is, what are the core ethical principles in conflict here? Like, what's really going on? Is it confidentiality issues? Is it social justice? Is it self-determination? Is it duty to warn? Like, there's a lot of different ethical principles here. And if you understand what confidentiality is, if you understand social justice, if you understand self-determination or duty to warn, you'll know which ones apply to this case and which one doesn't. So take a moment, get a sheet of paper and a pen and write out what you think are the principal ethical here, the issues here when it comes to conflict. I'm gonna break down these discussion questions later on in my notes, but I want you to write it down so before I share the answers, you'll have a better understanding. Second one, according to the NASW Code of Ethics, what is your primary responsibility in this situation? So you're the therapist. Like, what is your responsibility? Is it to the greater society? Is it to report him? Is it to be there for your client? Like, it's so many things to unpack, but what do you think is your primary responsibility? Go ahead and jot that down. All right, number 3, what are the potential consequences of encouraging David to go to the authorities? Like, what are the consequences of maintaining his confidentiality? There's 2 routes you can go. You can report David to the authority, or you can just maintain his confidentiality. What are the consequences of doing either or? Lot to unpack. Go ahead and tell me what you're thinking. And remember, guys, this video is pausable. Yes, you can pause it. So if I'm moving fast, because clearly I know you guys aren't writing that fast, you can always pause the video, go back, write your notes, and then start it all over again so you can see where we at. All right, so think about that for a moment. All right, let's move on to number 4. Does the fact that the wrongly convicted man is already deceased change your ethical or decision-making process? Why or why not? And last but not least, does this situation involve a duty to warn or protect from imminent harm? How does that fact guide your decisions? So these are the things that we deal with as social workers. Sometimes things can be really complex, and sometimes we don't really know what to do or how to do it because there's no list or directions on how to handle a thing. However, with our knowledge and our expertise, we can dig a little bit deeper. We can look at the NASW Code of Ethics. We can always consult with supervisors, consult with our colleagues and those that are in the profession with us that have knowledge on how to proceed and how to move forward with these when these situations take place. And this is a heavy one. This is something that's really going to unpack. Interestingly enough, I had a supervisee who had a very similar situation. The person didn't die, but I think it was a client. They were molested. It was in another country. It was like so many different details and so much stuff to unpack. It took a while for me to lay it all out and think through it logically and decide how they should handle it in the most ethical way. But yeah, it was a doozy. And sometimes you get those cases where you just don't know the answer right offhand. You got to think about it and process it. And that's okay to do. That's important to do because you want to make the right decisions and make sure that what you're doing is ethically and clinically appropriate. 2 things that you got to make sure. So if you have not, I do want to pause for a minute. If you have not joined the community, make sure you do it because we're throwing things down just like this. This is something we already did in our community, so I'm giving it to you after the fact. And I don't always do that because sometimes what happens in the community stays in the community. Yes, and that is the paid community. On my free community, there's another community where you pay a set fee each month and you get an hour of coaching each and every week. So we pretty much meet on Mondays or Sundays Eastern time, and by 4 p.m. Eastern time on Sundays. Sometimes it fluctuates and changes, but just to give you an idea, because I know that's the next question, when do y'all meet? But it fluctuates, and you have the events calendar inside of the community where you can just click on it, you can join, and you can also just be a part of that community. So yes, we are all about helping and uplifting one another. Lots of LMSWs and LCSWs. So it's a mixed group, so I make sure the content is applicable to both. All right, let me jump back in. So now that you've seen these questions and you have a better understanding of what this scenario is, let me jump in and let's discuss David. Yes, there's a lot of different things. So first and foremost, when it talks about the core principles here, conflict, there are a lot of them. So I want to break it down and just talk a little bit because I don't want this video to be super long. So I'm just going to start with some of the more core ethical conflicts that are here that we want to unpack. First one is confidentiality. Now, confidentiality is the bedrock. It's paramount when it comes to us and our therapeutic relationships. David shared this information with the expectation of privacy, which allows him to be vulnerable. So he would not have probably shared this information if he felt it wasn't a safe space and if he felt his information wasn't going to remain with his therapist, which happens a lot of times in therapy. However, we know there's also something called a duty to warn and all that stuff, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So here, when we're talking about this situation, breaking this confidentiality will destroy the therapeutic relationship or the alliance that you have between you and that client and potentially violate some ethical and legal standards. So we got to look at that confidentiality. And I even got codes up there for you to go back and look and search while you're studying. The second one is social justice. Now, social workers, we challenge social injustice. So a profound injustice has taken place. Yes, an innocent man went to prison and died. The system failed that man. And David's silence has perpetuated the injustice in this situation. So there is a duty to the larger society and integrity of the justice system. It's a lot happening here. So think about that stuff. We also have client self-determination. David has the right to choose his own path, including how he atones for his past, whether it is willingly face his legal consequences or just keep it to himself. Our role is to empower him to make an informed decision, but not to make the decision for him. That is self-determination. We don't decide for our clients. We give them the power and the tools so they can decide for themselves. All right, guys, real quick. I'm always talking about the community, the LCSW vibes. We leveling up. And this is the sneak peek of the community. As you can see, it's on and popping. We got a lot happening. I got ethics over here, human development, or study guides that you guys asked me about on the YouTube channels, all right there. Test questions. You just want to level up and learn and see if you can answer those questions. I'm testing your knowledge. Let me go back to the home screen. If you want to learn more about what services I offer and what other things are there, that is where you go to the learning tabs. We leveling up, so why don't you join so you can level up too? All right. Integrity. This is a value of the NASW, not a code, but a value. The social worker must be trustworthy. This means being true to their word on confidentiality and acting in a way that is consistent with the profession's values, which include promoting justice. Ooh, this is a tough one, guys. There's a lot of different variables here. So I want you to think about it, unpack it. Right now, you should have kind of your answer where you're leaning towards and what you're thinking and how you would justify your decision. All right. Last one is dignity and worth of a person. This applies to David. He built his whole life of atonement and service. That's how he tried to right his wrongs, so to speak. And he did this all in the memory of this man who was wrongly convicted. So as a social worker, how do you honor both? Do you honor David or do you honor the man who was unjustly imprisoned, I guess, and then died in prison? Like, what do you do? What is our role? Who do we work with? All right. So according to the NASW Code of Ethics, what is our primary responsibility in this situation? According to the Code of Ethics, we have a commitment to our clients. As social workers, our primary responsibility is to promote the well-being of our clients. So in this case, this can be limited by the responsibilities to the larger society, legal obligations. All those things have some exceptions, but they're pretty narrow. So here, the limits of confidentiality is what we must uphold. The key exceptions is that we would compel a social worker to break the confidentiality. The only time we would break the confidentiality, should I say, is if there's serious, foreseeable, and imminent harm. Yes, none of that takes place in this scenario. And this is the part that tricked a lot of people up in the community. They're like, oh my God, he killed a man. He killed a man. And I'm like, get it. I know. However, as a therapist, that is one of the hard roles that we carry when sometimes our client's burden is unloaded on us and we have to figure out what to do with that. In this case, there's no seeable, foreseeable, or imminent harm. That man has already died in prison. That's already happened a long time ago. Like, we can't go back and right that wrong. Now he can go and turn himself in and, get justice, although we have to figure out what is going to happen overall. Like, think about it. David's confession is about a crime that happened 30 years ago. He poses no imminent threat to anybody. Therefore, the conditions for mandated breach of confidentiality, they're not met here. The absence of legal mandate to report, they're not met here. So our role is therapeutic in this moment. We're not forensic and we're not prosecutorial. And that's what I explained to my team. It's kind of like, you hear this information, you think, but we're not the judge and the juror. That's not our job here. Our job is to oversee our clients' needs, make sure that they're good, make sure that they're okay, and we can help them to the best of our ability. All right, so let's talk about the potential consequences that will happen to David if we turn him into the authorities. Let's just go through that really quick. For David, it's almost certain he'll get criminal prosecution. He'll get imprisonment. He'll probably get a financial room and all of that stuff. Everything he's built over the last 20 years will be done. Down the drain. It'll be severe emotional distress for him and his family. There'll be public shame. They'll be seeing his loved one incarcerated. His employees will all lose their jobs. For the community, there'll be loss of a respected mentor, the community leader. So we have to look at the greater good here. Like, how many people would be harmed and hurt if this information was to come to light and to be rectified? So the historical record would be corrected and the wrongly convicted man's name would be cleared. This could bring peace to the surviving family, but would it highlight a grave past failure of the system? Absolutely it would. So the consequences of maintaining this confidentiality is that David's going to continue to live with guilt. He's going to continue to go to therapy, continue to have this guilt, continue to try to do all types of forms of atonement to right his wrong, but he's still living with the guilt, which is painful enough for some people. I'm sure some people will agree. For the social worker, you have to uphold your ethical standard of confidentiality, preserve that therapeutic relationship. Now, if you experience your own moral distrust, like knowing this and having unresolved injustice, and this is really a conflict for you, then that's something that needs to be processed and addressed in another way. But right now, this is talking about David, so I want to stay kind of on track. All right, for the justice system, the official record remains incorrect and historical injustice is not formally rectified. So for the wrongly convicted families, they are denied the truth about what happened to their loved ones. So these are all the consequences of maintaining our quietness or our client's confidentiality. All right. Does the fact that the wrongly convicted man is already deceased change your ethical judgment? Yes or yes? I'm sorry. Why or why not? And the answer is yes. It significantly changes. I already jumped and told you the answer. But I want to know what you think. Tell me what you think. Drop it in the comment section. Let me know, like, does it matter that this man, the wrongly convicted man, is deceased or not when it comes to your ethical calculus? Like, what are you thinking? The answer is showing yes here, but you got your own mind and your own reasons about why you're feeling a certain way, what you're thinking. So I'm really curious to know. Drop it in the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. I would love to see that so we can comment and we can kind of have a little dialogue over there in the little chat section. Yes, you guys know I respond to all my chats and all my communications, so make sure you do that. All right, so here, think about the principle of least harm. The wrongly convicted man were alive in prison. The social worker will be weighing David's future against the ongoing act of freedom against another human being. In this scenario, we really don't have to worry about that because the person that was imprisoned is no longer alive. Then we also have to look at harm versus the benefit analysis. Since the man is deceased, he cannot be restored to life or to freedom. So the primary benefit for David confessing is now more of a clearing his mind sort of thing and clearing the man who passed away's name. That is pretty much what we'll take. So you have to look at the harm versus the overall benefit when you're doing that analysis. So overall, the ethical framework for social worker would almost certainly prioritize preventing severe certain harm to living, and that is David. David is living, he's alive, his family, his job, his career, all that kind of stuff. So we got to think about that. This shifts from saving a life to correcting a record, which states that there's a significant ethical weight on doing one versus the other. So yes, I know this is hard for a lot of people to see and a lot of people understand, and they're like, that's just not right. And I get it. Put it in the comment section. Vent. Tell me what you're feeling, what you're thinking. If you disagree, perfectly fine. We're all social workers. We're all here. Yes, I'm licensed, but that doesn't mean that I'm the know-it-all. So I do want to hear what you guys think, what you guys are seeing. This is a really good case that you should process in supervision with your clinical supervisor to see their thoughts and understand. And then when they come back and say you need to do this, you can hit them with the facts and say, look, well, let's talk about duty to warn. Let's talk about confidentiality. Let's talk about the legal boundary. Let's talk about your role as a social worker. All of these things are healthy conversation. And this is what helps us stay ethically sound, clinically competent. All these are the things that help improve us in these areas. So really, really important to continue to do. All right. Now, this situation does not involve a duty to warn or protect from imminent harm. So that can guide our clinical actions. It asks us, how does that fact guide us? But it guides us entirely because we don't have a duty to warn and we don't have, it's no imminent harm for us to do any reporting or anything. So it defines the legal boundary. The duty to warn or protect, you have that Tarasov case, is legal and ethical mandate that creates a specific expectation of confidentiality. And this is not applied here. So it reinforces confidentiality with our client. Our client confessed to us something that happened a while ago, and we are obligated not to break that confidentiality and work with our client. It also clarifies our role as a social worker. The absence of duty to warn solidifies the social worker's role as a therapist. We're not an agent of change when it comes to the law enforcement. We're not a lawyer. We're not, a police officer. That's not our role. Our role is to be therapeutic and give our clients a safe space where we can deal with their issues of guilt, atonement, personal growth, and all of the like. That is what we do with our role and our job as social workers when we're dealing with our client. So the fact guides a social worker to keep them focused on David. That is what this does. It guides us to keep it focused on David. And I know there's a lot of information, a lot of content on these slides, but that's why you can pause the video and read it all. I just want to summarize and make sure that you have a good understanding, a better understanding, because this was an amazing case. I thought it was really good, and I wanted to break it down so you guys can understand it. Hey guys, let's stop by to tell you this. You do not have to win alone. Absolutely not. People in the community are winning each and every day. The proof is in the pudding. Go in the community. It's free. We're throwing down test questions, case studies, the FNBM method, all the details and everything you need so you can succeed. Click the link in the bio and join. You don't need to do this alone. See you soon. So the core concepts, the ethical decision-making hierarchy. When faced with a complex ethical decision when it comes to ASWB exam, you must prioritize actions. So here, first and foremost, the protection of life is here. The quality of life is here at the bottom of this hierarchy. So look at all of that in between. The clients have the right to self-determination. We have the principle of least harm. We have to deal with informed consent. We have to deal with privacy, confidentiality, and privilege, truthfulness, and full disclosure. And then we have that quality of life. That is where we promote the client's ability to have have a good quality life as they so define it. So these are all the core decision-making principles that I want you to look at and consider. Study them, write them down. Take a moment, pause the video real quick. I don't know why I froze. Like, pause the video, then I froze. But anyways, take that sheet of paper, your note cards, and write down those core concepts, because I really want you to understand and dig deep. I know this case was a tricky one for a lot of you, and you probably thought like, oh my gosh, this was tough. So anyways, I have some quick questions for critical thinking that I want to go through and want you guys to understand. This is the first question. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it, let you review it, and then we're going to discuss it in its entirety. So bear with me. Go ahead and read it, and we're gonna go over the answers. All right, now that you've had a chance to review this question, I'm gonna go ahead and read it out loud for you, and then we'll go over some option choices. So social work in a family services agency is counseling a 15-year-old client. The client reveals that she's sexually active and wants information about obtaining birth control without her parents' knowledge. The state law is ambiguous, allowing minors to consent to some medical care, but requiring parental notification for others. The parents have previously expressed to the social worker their strong moral opposition to premarital sex and contraception. The social worker's first step should be to, so just think about the question before you even see the options. I want you to get in the habit of being able to just kind of think about what the social worker's obligation or the first step they should do when given a situation or a case like this. All right, now here's the options. A, should they provide the client with the referral to a family planning clinic that serves minors? B, explore the client's reasons for not wanting to involve her parents in this decision. Or C, inform the parents that their daughter is asking about information pertaining to contraception. Or D, consult with the agency supervisor or legal counsel to clarify the legal obligations regarding consent and confidentiality. So think about that for a moment. Tell me what your thoughts are. So question number 2, write down your answer for that one. So if you forgot, let me just go back. Well, you can go back on the screen. You see those 4 options. Write down what you think is A, B, C, or D. All right, let's move to the next one. An LCSW has been working with a client for 6 months on issues of anxiety and depression. The client and artist has made significant progress. As a thank you, the client offers the social worker a framed original painting that is professionally valued at approximately $500. The social worker's agency has no specific policy on gifts. The social worker's best response is to A, accept the gift and document it in the client's record to maintain transparency. B, decline the gift, explaining the potential for it to create a dual relationship and alter the therapeutic dynamic. C, suggest the client donate the painting to the agency to benefit all clients. Or D, accept the gift but insist on paying the client a fair price for the artwork. Take some time, pause the screen, and write your response down. Question number 3. A social worker receives a subpoena from an attorney for a former client's therapy records. The former client has not given consent for the records to be released. The social worker is unsure if the client is even aware of the subpoena. The social worker should next, A, immediately send a copy of the records to the attorney to comply with the legal document. B, release a summary of the records, redacting any information that seems overly sensitive. C, contact the former client to inform them of the subpoena and discuss their wishes regarding the release of records. Or D, contact the attorney who issued the subpoena to argue that the records are privileged and should not be released. Think about it for a moment and write down your answers. Are you studying for the LCSW or LMSW exam? Don't waste time on the wrong prep. Try my test prep program for free with a full module that gives you the real strategies, the real practice, and real results. Plus, you get access to my exclusive test prep community where you'll find support, study material, and accountability. No risk, no stress, just results. Click the link in the bio so you can get ready to win with the winning team. Let's move on to question number 4. A social worker in a rural community runs into a current client at the local grocery store. The client is with the person the social worker does not recognize. The client smiles and waves warmly at the social worker. The most ethical action for the social worker to take is A, acknowledge the client with a brief, polite nod and continue with shopping, polite smile or nod and continue their shopping. B, walk over to the client and ask how they have been since their last session. C, ignore the client completely to protect their confidentiality at all costs. Or D, wait until the client is alone and then approach them to schedule their next appointment. All right, hopefully these questions have you thinking. These are questions that we have done in my community. So I wanted to give you guys a taste because I'm always getting comments in the section like post questions, ask questions, give me more of this. What's the answer to this? And you guys are pulling and asking for more stuff. Of course, I do the YouTube videos because I absolutely love it. And I love giving you guys knowledge and content. However, there are people who have invested in their journey in a certain way that I must show up for them in a way that's a little bit more and making sure they get what they need. So in the coaching community, not only do I do questions like this and go over content, but people bring me questions. questions. For instance, that this week, I can think about it because it's fresh on the brain. Someone said, hey, can you give me the difference between projection and displacement? And I also had the same question. Ironically, someone asked me about displacement and projection inside of my boot camp. And that seems to be defense mechanisms that people are getting tricked up on. I never thought about it as being confusing because the two are very different in my mind, but I can see now after explaining it and going over it, how it can be a little tricky for people to differentiate the difference. So that is something that I definitely wanted to just kind of bring to the limelight. Like that, those are some of the things that we do during the coaching community to kind of help you get to the next level. And of course, that is an opportunity where you can request whatever you want. If you like, hey, I need you to go over this, and this, and send me a message, I got you. Because I love to get feedback on what you guys want and what you guys need. If not, I'm going to show up with an agenda, but it's your show. So you let me know what you want. Just keep that in mind. All right. Question number 5, and we're going to rock out. This is the last question. So a social worker is facilitating a support group for individuals dealing with grief. A new member attends for the first time, shares a painful story, and becomes very emotional. After the group, the member approaches the social worker and asks if they can connect on social media, stating they feel a real connection and they want to be able to message the social worker if they feel overwhelmed. What should the social worker do? Or the social worker should, that's what it actually says. A, agree to connect, but set a firm boundary that the platform cannot be used for therapeutic communication. B, suggest that the member connect with the other group members on social media for peer support instead. C, decline the request, explaining the agency's policy and the importance of maintaining professional boundaries for the integrity of the therapeutic relationship. Or D, postpone the decision and bring the request up for discussion with the entire group at the next meeting. So we went through these 5 questions, guys. I want you to take some time, reflect. The good thing about YouTube is you can pause this, you can go back, do some laundry, think about what you want to say and how you want to answer it, write down your responses, and then when the answers are provided to you, you can check and see where you are. These are 5 questions. So of course, if there are 5 questions, you're looking at about 20 points apiece. If you're looking for that 100%, then you cannot miss any more than 1. Just to let yourself know if you're grading. If you miss 2, then ethics might be something you want to work on, which is great. That's why you join the community, and I can help you with that. Or join the course, help you with that. Join the boot camp, and I'm definitely helping you with that. So these are some resources and things that you can utilize to help you get to the next level. I really hope that you take some time to invest in yourself by just taking time going through these questions. That's an investment. You're spending time and energy. Investment does not always mean money. You can get there's a lot of free resources such as this YouTube channel where you can really dial in, take notes, jot down information, use these questions in study groups. That's what this is for. My job, my vision, my goal, my mission is to help you succeed and to help you get those 4 letters behind your name. So please buckle up, share with a friend. I know a lot of you have study groups going on. This is an excellent opportunity to play this video back in the study group or have everybody watch the video before the study group, then pause it and then meet together to discuss the answers and what you think. And then boom, when I provide the answers, you're like, oh snap, we were right. Or, oh man, I see why this was right or why this was wrong. So keep that in mind. This is just a tool, and I plan to do more of these just to kind of help you elevate your studying routine or the process and how you choose to do a thing and study. All right. So I hope this was very helpful. I hope you were able to get what you need from this video and understand it. I know you guys are like, well, where the heck are the answers? I got you. I'm going to put the answers in the comment section. It's going to be pinned at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to have the answers and the rationales because I want you guys to take this, study it, know it, and then come back in the comment section and just like the message or respond or whatever you need to do to let me know that you leveled up and got it. I'm curious to know how many points you got right. 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 5 out of 5. Let's see where you at. That's the goal. I hope this video was hella helpful. I hope you got exactly what you need. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for rocking out with your girl, for supporting me, for telling people about me, for getting the message out there. I'm telling you, it warms my soul to see how many people are passing and elevating on this thing. I'm telling you right now, this is all about investment in yourself. Sometimes you guys just schedule to talk to me and I just give you the words of encouragement before you take that test. And when you reach back out and be like, I did that, I passed it, I'm super excited, just as if I worked with you personally. Because again, we're social workers. We're all about uplifting and helping those around us. So please make sure you pay this forward by sharing this video with a friend, by sharing it with someone that you know that's struggling or trying to pass the exam, or even just your clinical supervisor to say, yo, I'm working with somebody on LCSWVIBES. That lady, I think her name is, I don't even know. We just call it LCSWVIBES, but my name is Ariza, and I'm helping you rise to the next level and to your next potential. That is how you're going to remember my name. Be blessed until the next one. Have an amazing day, and thank you so much for rocking out with your girl. I see you soon.